All right, we got to do it. We got to talk about it. We have to talk about this For Haiti album by Mach-Hommy that was released earlier this year, back in May. This album is phenomenal and pretty late into the year. This is still my front runner for album of the year, so we got to talk about it. This is the latest album by New Jersey and Haitian-American rapper Mach-Hommy. And I have no shame in saying that prior to this album, I have not been a Mach-Hommy fan. Mach-Hommy is a very elusive rapper, and the barrier of entry to becoming a Mach-Hommy fan is really, really high. For one, up until recently, his albums have been really, really hard to get your hands on. His classic album, Haitian Body Odor, back when it was released, was I think $1,000, and it wasn't like you could pirate it. If you didn't pay for that album, or if you didn't know someone who paid for that album, you probably weren't going to hear it. It's only been recently where a lot of his albums have been on streaming platforms and things like that. Also, he is very complex. He raps in Creole, he uses a lot of Haitian slang, a lot of references to foreign cultures, and none of his lyrics are on the internet. So if he raps something and you don't catch the reference, good luck. But this album here was kind of a perfect storm that got me to listen to the album. He had a very popular beef with Westside, Gunn, and Griselda, mainly Come With a Machine and Benny the Butcher. Right before the release of the album, it was publicized that Mach-Hommy and Westside Gunn made up and were going to be working on this album together. Despite that, Benny the Butcher and Conway were taking some subtle shots. Benny the Butcher even dropped his BSF album coincidentally on the same day that For Haiti was released. So taking all that into account, my intrigue with the album was super high, and this album is sick. This album is sick. I think this is easily Mach's most polished album from a production standpoint. You can tell Westside Gunn had his hands all over the album, and what we get is a jazzy album but still maintains that lo-fi aesthetic that we know and love with the Griselda sound. But more importantly, that the rapping here is insane. In this album, Mach is giving some of the best bars of the year on dang near every single verse. The song 26 Letters, the perfect opening that you can have to an album like this. The horns sound just dark, grimy. Out the gate, the flow is insane. That 2-syllable, 4-syllable swing with the Your Heart Made Out of Jello, Pop-Tarts and Marshmallow, that is fire. And the bars here are, it's a lot of bar of the year material in here. The line, my whips talk for me, Bentley wheels been spoke. Bruh, that's amazing. This gonna be the year I get my Python trench coat line. It's some of the best fan service that I've heard recently. Like I said, Westside Gunn's prints are all over the album. He gives a hilarious rant. When the last time your feet had sand on it had me cracking up, and then Mach just goes in again. He had one of my favorite lines of the album. Rap snitch conditions telling the cops they status. A lot of these rappers, Big 12, like March Madness. The song's just amazing. This song is one of my favorite songs of the year, and he doesn't let up. The next song, No Blood, No Sweat, is him rapping on this bright and airy camouflage monk beat with these arpeggiating piano keys. He puts on another rap clinic out the gate that they saying I'm top one, more or less the best. Let's travel through the vortex. That whole rhyme scheme that he kept going for like 4 bars, 4, 6 or something bars was pretty insane. But back to these punches. He said, oh yeah, your rap's braggadocious. Put this 38 in your mouth. Go ahead and spit your magnum opus. Oh my goodness. Bro, that is 38 magnum opus, 38. Oh. The flows here are crisp from start to finish. He has a lot of flows that I like. That hopeless, pathetic, they think it's copacetic. That flow is fire. Westside Gunn jumps in with a fire verse on the song Folie. This time over this trippy, dreamy beat that really plays into the title of the song really great. I looked up Folie means two people in equal delusion, and the whole concept of the song is Westside Gunn and Mach-Hommy in so much wealth and luxury that it's almost seems delusional. Westside Gunn here is dope. You know, he doesn't have the standout punches that Mach-Hommy has, but his rhyme schemes, his flows are insane, especially when he gets into that mason jars, mason Margiela scarves, that whole flow where he's just name dropping expensive brand after expensive brand. Even Keisha Plum, who I normally can't stand hearing, I thought her poem wasn't bad. And then Mach-Hommy comes and he closed the song out in a ridiculous manner. The imagery in his verse, along with the rhyme schemes. Westside Gunn has a lot of appearances on here, and I think this is one of his most crisp. Also, towards the beginning of the album, you have the phenomenal Stellar Ray Theory, which I think has a very good argument for being the best song of 2021 so far. The song is basically him talking about coming from nothing, but he's using the sun as extended metaphor throughout the entire song. It's done extremely well, even from the Ghostface Killer reference with the sun can never be pussy, he never come out, and then flipping that to his own bar, but he always know where to be found or what I'm talking about. But just the metaphors and the similes that he uses, especially in that first verse, every line that he's saying ties back into that sun theme with made it through the fires with some drought and unlimited drops. Y'all catch bars. Unlimited drops like sneaker shots, got shoes for days. Y'all niggas is workers who could really use the raise. Come on, y'all catch bars, man. Y'all taste poor like cats and dogs. This song is sick. This song is sick. In the second verse, I love the interpolation of the Jay-Z takeover line. I like the with the Illidef hockey jersey, ain't nobody flyer. I don't see who in 2021 has rapped on the level of Mach-Hommy. I mean, it's very few contenders. Mach has a couple sentimental cuts on the album. The song Marie, he's talking about his girl and the relationship he has between her, comparing his life, her life, him being in the streets and her reaping the benefits of his lifestyle with the gifts and the lifestyle that he provides. I will say I thought the beat was a little bit too laid back, but I thought he really shined on that second verse. I thought it was one of the better verses on the album. The song Criminal, he's going back through memory lane, thinking about various family members and friends who are either locked up or got deported. My only critique with this cut is, well, the sample was fine, but that's kind of all there is to this song. I don't really even like how they loop the sample. I just want a little bit more from the beat, especially compared to some of the doper beats on the album, such as the beat on the song Pen Rail, which takes this runaway sample and loops it, throws some reverb on it, makes that guitar sound watery, smooth, and what we get from Mach-Hommy is an onslaught. I think most reviewers have avoided this song because they don't want to get on camera and say, I don't really know what he's talking about. But the song is amazing to me, and it's intentionally complex. He knows that with the very last line where it says, you can take this elliptical dip into, which elliptical in this case means being intentionally hard to understand. The rapid pace that Mach-Hommy is making the references is disorienting. Lyrically, it's a masterpiece. Take that opening rhyme scheme, for example. He uses this 3-syllable rhyme scheme, but inside of it, he just destroys this dancer, zany, advances, changes, canvas, alliteration in the middle of this 3-syllable rhyme scheme. It sounds crazy. It's easily one of my favorite songs on the album. That outro sounds grimy. I have no idea who he's talking to, but he knows who he's talking to. Now, Westside Gunn is all over this album, but I don't like all of the features. The song Murder Season, Westside Gunn's verse here doesn't have enough substance, and that rhyme scheme is not strong enough to carry the song. I also thought the beat was a little bit too laid back. Mach somewhat saves the song. His verse here is solid. I do think Mach's delivery and his singing on this song was a pretty good change of pace though for the album. The song Magnum Band, the God Fahim. I'm not a huge fan of God Fahim. You know, I know he has a strong cult-like following like Mach-Hommy, but his verse was clearly inferior to a masterful verse by Mach-Hommy, who in the midst of these crazy complex rhyme schemes spouts off, I put this biscuit to your tea like it's England. Bro, what? He also got a lot of flack for this Capital Steez line, but the line's a triple entendre. I mean, this is, maybe it's in bad taste, but this is still a very good line. I do like the feature on the song Rami, this time with Westside Gunn again. This time they're going back and forth, spitting about 8 bars apiece. Their chemistry's on full display here. Westside Gunn's charisma's on full display here. Even some bars that are kind of basic on paper sound really good the way that Westside Gunn is delivering it. Don't get your wig pop, baby. The album ends off relatively strong too. The song Au revoir. Well, I think the beat is probably a little bit too laid back for me, and it takes a while to pick up with a whole verse of singing from Melanie Charles. Monk's verse here is really good. It's a real change of pace from his rapid fire flows on most of the other songs on the album. The rhyme schemes are simplified a bit. He's taking a more intentional approach to his raps, and it kind of sounds more like he's talking to you as opposed to rapping at you. And the effect of it is the song comes off as more heartfelt. The bars are still here though. He has they sign us for the drip like my nose runny. He has the extremely clever, so real I made Meghan Markle hop out and get the Duchess. That Duchess being a double entendre, and the fact that that's just a hilarious line. And then the bright and airy, almost islandy sounding 10 Boxes Sin Eater. I love everything from the chorus, the rhyme schemes, the flows, the bars. And look, I'm not blind to the flaws with this album, the flaws with Mach-Hommy. I definitely understand how Mach's laid back delivery and vocal inflections, I know that can turn off some people from the album, but I mean, every single bar on this album, I just don't know who is rapping on the same level as Mach-Hommy. And it's going to be tough for any album this year to top this offering for Mach-Hommy. This is one of the best Griselda releases, period. It's up there, maybe even better than Tana Talk 3, Fly God, those albums. And overall, I feel the same with the album being out for a couple of months as I did right after it came out. I think this album is a very strong 8.75 out of 10. This album is sick. Hey, if you like the review, consider following, consider giving this video a like. Also did a reaction to the Hitler Wears Airman Side B. Also did a review of Side A. And appreciate you rocking with me.